Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Donna Perigin. If you're new to my channel, I'm a chemistry professor at a small university called Jacksonville State University. I have a background in computational organic chemistry. I make videos on various topics involving chemistry and computer science, so if you're interested in either of those topics, feel free to subscribe. If you find this video useful, give it a thumbs up, which would help me in the algorithms. I'm actually right now working on a web scraping course, which I plan to release later this year on either Udemy or YouTube. So if you're interested in specific content related to web scraping, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started on this topic. Lately I've been studying different libraries for web scraping. And the library that I've been studying this week is the Python requests library. So you can find that library here, requests HTML, and I put the link to this library right here so you can access that. So what I'm going to do is upload this Jupyter Notebook to my GitHub, and I'll make it public so you can download it. If you want to do that, go get the notebook now and download it and you can follow along. But to do that, you'll need Jupyter Notebooks and pip installed. So if you don't have Jupyter Notebooks installed, you can Google how to install Jupyter Notebooks. I'm running Jupyter Notebooks inside Ubuntu 22, and you're also going to need pip, so you can Google how to install pip. So I'm not going to cover that in this lesson. If you need help getting those to work on your system, you can drop me a note down below and I might make a video on that. But I didn't do that at this time. I'm assuming that you have that installed. So if you have pip, go ahead and type pip install requests-html to get the library installed. Okay, so I've found that this library works well as long as you're not rendering HTML from a page that uses JavaScript. Okay, if your page uses JavaScript, this library claims to work with JavaScript. It says it has full JavaScript support, but I couldn't get that to work, and I think that's because of an update in the Chrome driver, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Okay, so you want to type pip install requests HTML, and then we'll be able to go ahead and do this tutorial. So what I did was I put in most of the commands that they gave here on this web page for their from their tutorial, and I edited those to work with Jupyter Notebook. So some of them don't work as is straight from this tutorial, so I've edited those for notebooks, and I'm going to go ahead and share that code with you. So with that in mind, let's get started. So first we're going to import the library. We're going to import HTMLSession from requests_HTML and then set an instance of that equal to session. Then we're going to grab that home page with an instance of that session, so r equals session.get, and then we enter the home page here. So we're actually going to scrape python.org. Let's go over here and see what this website looks like. So here's the home page of python.org, and if you right click and choose inspect, that'll bring up your developer tools, which are helpful for scraping. Okay, we'll talk about that more in just a minute. So let's go ahead and see our response. We can print our response from the R variable, and we get a response 200, meaning that was successful. So the next thing we're going to do is grab a list of all the links on the page, and these are the relative links. So you can see these are not absolute links with the entire link listed. They're relative to the home page. Okay, and that is a list of the links. Okay, we can also get the absolute links in the form of a list as well. So let's do that. Alright, so these have the full links or absolute links here, so we could loop over those if we wanted to. And we're going to see how to loop over links in just a little bit. The next thing we're going to do is learn to select an element with a CSS selector. The CSS selector that we're going to be looking at is the one that they just happen to be using in their page, and that is the ID equals about. So we have an ID of about for this element. Let's see where that element is, okay? So the element is about right here. If you go to your developer tools, okay, so let's go back and see how to do this again. From the home page, right click and choose inspect, and on your developer tools, click this box with the arrow in it on the upper left of the panel. And by doing that, you can hover over any of these elements and get more information about it. So if you look here at the Nav bar, you can choose the About element, click on it, and you will get that will lead you to the code for that element. You can see here the about element. Okay, so the about element has an ID of about. So that's how we are grabbing information about that element, is from its ID, and that is a CSS selector. So here, let's print the about element. Okay, and this is the LI element representing that element that we grabbed with that selector. Okay. So that is the LI tag for that selector. Okay, so next, let's grab the text from that element. So we get about.text. So that element has a drop down here, a drop down menu, and those are children of that element. You can see here, okay, all of these LIs as children of that element, and we're grabbing the text here from all of these children elements. Okay, so here we see applications, quotes, getting started. Okay, so over here we're going to grab the text from all of these children elements, child elements of the about element, the element that has an ID of about. So that's how to use a CSS selector. Okay. Alright, and so we can also look at the attributes of that element. So if we want to see its attributes, you can see that this is basically the same thing. Let's go back up here and see what we did. So if you choose print about, okay, then we get all of the information from that LI tag. Now we can get that information as an attribute in the form of a dictionary. So here we have key value pairs from this ATTRS command. It gives us the same information but in the form of a dictionary with key value pairs. So we can choose any of those values by using its key. So if we use this command, let's go ahead and comment out that command, and let's choose to target the key ID and see its value. So the value for ID, well, let's bring that back up, was about. You can see the value for ID is about. If we choose the key of class, you can see that its value is tier 1, element 1. Alright, and if we choose the area has pop-up, then you can see that we get the value true. Okay, so you can target an element like that. Alright, next we're going to see the HTML for this element. Alright, and so this is all of the HTML for the element and its children using the about. Well, about is our keyword, is our variable for that element, and about.html gives us that HTML. So next we see how to find elements within an element. So here we want to grab all of the A tags that are associated with the about element. Remember, we are still looking at this about element in the nav menu. Okay, so let's find the A tags that are associated with that element. Okay, we're getting all of the A tags here. Alright. And we can also get the absolute links, so we can scrape out the absolute links from that element. So here is a list of all of the absolute links that are inside that element. So now we have those in the form of a list. So let's go ahead. Well, I couldn't comment this out very well. So let's go ahead and loop over that list. So for link and absolute links, we're made a for loop here. We're going to print the link, okay? So maybe we'll go back and choose a different element and see how to do that from the nav menu and see how to do that again in just a few minutes. So next we're going to search for some text, regex style. So we're going to replace unknown text. So this is basically like searching for Python is a blank language. We're going to look for the first instance of blank by replacing what we're looking for with these curly braces. So anything that matches this format of text will be returned, and we'll get just what goes in the blank. In our case, the blank is represented by these curly brackets here. So this is a regex style text search. Okay, so let's see how this works. Alright, so we get programming returned for our curly brackets here. That Python is a programming language. That was what we needed to fill in our blank. So let's see how we can use CSS selectors to find an item on the page. So if we go back over to our python.org page, let's go back to our home page here. Let's say we want to find an item in the nav bar. So go back to your box with a arrow on it, right, and hover over the item that you want to find. So let's choose events, and now this event, I didn't mean to go. Let's go back to the home page. Hover over events, click on the box with an arrow, and click on events. So you can see here that that is this item right here. Okay, and so if we right click on that and choose copy and then selector, that should give us the code that we need to put into the quotes to find that element. Okay, so if we put that down, we're grabbing the text from that element. Okay, so here we're getting the text from the A tag. Okay, we're getting the text from just this A tag. You can see that text right here. Now what happens if we take that A option out and just choose events? Then now we get all of the text with all of the children of that item. So you can see that there are several children here. Python events. Now we're going to grab the text from those items. Let's see if we can. So here we have user group events and so forth. And so you can see we can grab the text from those items. Next we see how we can find an item by Xpath, and this is not an Xpath tutorial. When I release my web scraping course, I will release more information on using Xpath to target different items, but here I have targeted an item with Xpath. I don't remember which item it is. This is documentation item, I believe. So let's go ahead and choose a different item to find with Xpath. So I've been just kind of sticking with the nav bar here. So first of all, go down here in your developer tools and click Control F, and then we can see if we can find an item over here on this page before we go and put it back in. So click on the box with the arrow in it and hover over an item that you want to find. So let's see. Let's click on this. Let's just go back to the nav bar. So let's click on news, okay? So we've clicked on news here. Let's go back over to the code, right click, and choose copy full XPath, okay? So let's select that item by putting the Xpath in here. Okay, and then we're going to print that Xpath result. So you can see that we have grabbed the HTML from that Xpath right here. Okay, so let's see if we can. So let's see if we could choose a different item by Xpath. So let's try to find another element by Xpath. So let's go up here and click again and choose this link from the other nav bar and choose copy full Xpath. Alright, and let's go ahead and put that in here. Now sometimes with Xpath you have to play around with it. Oh, I forgot to show you. You can check here to see if you can actually find it on the page. And you can see here that if we put it into the search, so I did Control F and then searched for that, you can see that it found it. So like if we, let's go to a different thing. So let's hover over that. And so copy full XPath, and you can see that we're finding the Python logo. We got one of one item here with that XPath. Okay, so this is not a tutorial about XPath. If I release my web scraping tutorial, I'll talk a lot more about how to target sets of elements with XPath and that sort of thing. But right now I'm just trying to see how this library works. Okay, so if we want to, let's copy that XPath for the Python logo and go back over and paste that in here. So I was just playing around with that command a little bit. Alright, and so that is the HTML from that item. So the next thing I want to talk about is that this library claims to be able to support a website that needs to be rendered from JavaScript, and I have not been successful with that. So you can get this session to work, but then if you try to use the render function, right, you're going to get an error. Okay, and I tried this. It says here use AsyncHTML instead, and I spent a good day trying to get this AsyncHTML session to work, and I tried a lot of different things and I did not get it to work. So if you get this to work with JavaScript, let me know. I suspect that the reason this is not working is because it says here that the first time you run it, let me see where that is, that you will download Chromium to your home directory into this, into some directory. And the problem is the newer Chromium WebDriver does not save to your device. It actually is a web-based version, and I think there's a conflict between the downloaded Chromium WebDriver and the new Chromium WebDriver that we're actually trying to use. So I don't think this library is going to work for with JavaScript support for you, but if you get that to working, go ahead and let me know down in the comments, and maybe you can figure it out and I'll investigate further. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope to update with more videos like this later. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, leave me a comment. Tell me why. Tell me what I can improve, because I'm really trying to work on making more educational material for CS. And thanks for watching, and have a great day.